Well. It's Saturday. It's November 1st. November already, man. It's noon Eastern time. I'm Bob Harris, and this is your Week 9 Ask Me Anything live stream. Welcome to the program. Thanks for coming here before we get to your questions. And like you were listening last week, that's fantastic. Very few in there. Give me a sound check if you can. Appreciate that if you're available to make sure I'm sounding okay. I didn't sound great last week. I don't know what it was. I can't figure out everything. I try though. Before we get into all the stuff and all the other stuff and the great stuff that you love, footballguys.com. That's the website. I appreciate you joining me here every Saturday at this time, noon. If you want to do that every week, subscribe to the Football Guys live channel. Some other great content there as well. The pregame shows on Sundays, some Thursday night live stuff. Tons of stuff throughout the week. Also, the Football Guys Fantasy Football channels for Dave and Alfredo, the Dynasty channel, Jeff Bell and Dave Kluge, the Audible channel with Cecil and Sig. So be sure to get that. Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate the words from everybody. That's what we like to hear. Oh, chilly England. It is chilly over there. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you would. You can dislike me as well. I'm okay with that. I understand. I'm not for everybody. You can catch me at Football Guys, the website. Every Thursday, my fantasy notebook comes out. Every Friday, I have a collaboration with Gary Davenport, a face-off where we tackle some tough issues. And then on Saturday is my in and out. And yes, I do have a lot of nerve because I'm making some uncomfortable picks there. Just have a little fun with it. And it's more, trying to find edges against the expectations and having, trying to show a little bit of the process of what you're looking at or what I'm looking at. And maybe what you might want to look at is you're trying to sort through tough roster decisions, or if you're playing DFS, you want to do some phase stuff. You can also hear me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio every dang day. I almost said something else. Every dang day. 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Weeknights, the Football Diehards program on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Tonight, Saturdays, we're simulcast on NFL Radio and the Fantasy Channel 8 to 11 Football Diehard Show. That's me and Mike Dempsey, by the way. And then Sunday, I'll do the pregame show with Jeff Mans every week, 11 to 1 p.m. And also every weekday morning, the Football Guys Daily Update Podcast. It's a 10-minute hit to get you up to speed on all the things you might want to know heading into a given day. And kind of know you all got busy schedules and you're not on top of this like everyone else. So if you're not on top of this, this is where I remind you of the bye weeks. And they are the Cleveland Browns, New York Jets, Philadelphia Eagles, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers are all off. The Buccaneers in desperate need of that. Thanks everyone again for coming. I like that you didn't ask all the questions before you showed up. I appreciate that as well. As you know, I like to run through the injuries and kind of set the table. We'll see if anything breaking. There's been a little bit of discussion this morning. Ian Rappaport talking about Joe Flacco being likely to play. Let's run through the whole injury list, just the skill players real quick. Do it in chronological order so you kind of have an understanding of the fallbacks. That's Cincinnati at Chicago at Cincinnati. The Bears are without Luther Burden, Roschon Johnson, and DeAndre Swift. Kyle Monangai, fire up your Monangais, people. Travis Homer behind him. It seems like Monangai is primed for a great role with both Johnson and Swift out. Joe Flacco has worked on a limited basis all week. Zach Taylor's been very impressed with his willingness to work through that. He's going to go out and give it a go. Listed as questionable. Ian Rappaport reporting this morning that Flacco will try to play. Minnesota at Detroit for the Minnesota Vikings. No major players. CJ Ham, Josh Oliver. Although Ham's a pretty good fullback. For the Detroit Lions, no one of interest there either, unless you're into Craig Reynolds and Sione Vacai. I am not. For the Carolina Panthers at Green Bay, Andy Dalton is questionable. Doesn't matter, but Bryce Young is back. Amazing how how quickly his high ankle sprain healed compared to one J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota, who we will see this week, by the way. Carson Wentz, if you didn't hear, is having surgery on his shoulder. He's done for the year. So it's J.J. McCarthy. We'll find out what he is, and hopefully he's better than we've seen. 1 good quarter, 7 bad quarters for J.J. McCarthy. We'll discuss that. The Green Bay Packers, Brandon McManus with the ongoing quad injury. He looks like he'll kick this week. Dontayvion Wicks has been ruled out. Christian Watson, what a remarkable recovery from his ACL. He looked fantastic last week. Let's see if he can keep that going. The Los Angeles Chargers are at Tennessee. My man Will Dissly's got an illness. Not sure if he'll play. Hassan Haskins ruled out. Doesn't really matter. Rondé Gadsden has taken over that tight end position and is the dominant force in the league at the moment. second highest scoring tight end over the last 3 weeks behind Tucker Kraft. Hassan Haskins, we knew was going to be out as well. So Kamani Vidal is ready to roll again. Great matchup for the Chargers. On the other side of the ball, no Calvin Ridley. More room for Chimere Dike. Maybe Alec Ayamanor. Last week, both tight ends, Gunnar Helm and Chigakonkwo, fared reasonably well in that one. New England Patriot or Atlanta at New England. Casey Washington out for the Falcons. All the pieces we're interested in. Michael Penix Jr., Drake London, Tyler Algier all came off the injury report, so good news there. Ramondre Stevenson is out. Travion Henderson, start your engines. We're ready to roll. Just remember there's Terrell Jennings there. There is a Dearness Johnson there. Shenanigans to be had, but even I'm like as skeptical as I am of what their plans have been or their usage has been of Travion Henderson. It's hard to imagine them not firing him up this week. San Francisco at New York, the Giants. Ricky Pearsall out again. Sounds like he'll be back next week. Or they're hoping he'll be back next week. He started to do some work. Brock Purdy, also likely back next week, although he'll be available. He's listed as questionable. Has missed the last, 4 or 5 games. Mac Jones has been named the starter. Purdy is questionable, will be available. So we'll see how that goes for the Giants. Daniel Bellinger is doubtful with a neck injury. No big deal there. And, of course, Cam Skattebo done for the year. So be careful. You're caught up on all that. Tyrone Tracy Jr., good play this week. Indianapolis at Pittsburgh. Every Colt is a good play. This Pittsburgh defense is struggling. Anthony Gould, the wide receiver, is out for them. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, no players of interest. Scotty Miller, I apologize if you're a Scotty Miller fan. Some of you might be. He is out with a finger injury. Denver at Houston. We have Nate Atkins and Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims out with a concussion. Look at the coverages here. Sounds like Stingley will shadow maybe Cortland Sutton, probably. So maybe room for Troy Franklin to excel if we can get around the pass rush on both sides of the ball, right? Dalton Schultz, questionable with a shoulder injury. He didn't practice all week. I don't think it's looking good for him. Sunday, late afternoon, Jacksonville Jaguars. Travis Hunter's done. He's on IR. He may be, they say it's not an ACL, but it's serious enough. It sounds like he'll miss at least 8 weeks. So they maybe hope to have him for the playoffs if they make it that far. I don't know that they'll make it that far. So Brian Thomas Jr., Parker Washington getting a ton of targets there. De'Ami Brown both in play. My sidekick, Mike Dempsey, on the Sirius channel, covers the Jaguars on a daily basis for his day job. He's really in on Parker Washington. The targets have demonstrated that the last 2 weeks as well. No Quentin Morris, no Tim Patrick either. Both those guys ruled out. Las Vegas, everyone's good to go, including Brock Bowers, who returns from his knee injury. Maybe he can open up the passing game a little bit. New Orleans at Los Angeles in the late afternoon window again. Alvin Kamara, questionable. Limited all week. My guess is he'll go. Devin Neal standing by if he can't. Rashid Shaheed, sounds like the trade talks for him are heating up, by the way. He is questionable. Also worked on a limited basis all week. The Rams are all good to go, including the great Puka Nacua, who will return from his injury and the bye week. Kansas City at Buffalo, no Isaiah Pacheco. Bad news there, unless you have Kareem Hunt or maybe Rashard Smith. Well, I'm sure we'll have questions about him. On the other side of the ball, no Josh Palmer. Wide receiver's been ruled out. Sunday Night Football. No Jake Bobo, no Derek Young, probably no Cooper Kupp. He came down with a hamstring injury. They were listing him as questionable, but no Friday practice after the Thursday hamstring injury. For the Washington Commanders, no Terry McLaurin. He's been ruled out. So Jaden Daniels will return with a limited receiving core. Colson Yankoff, the great tight end that I played against a week or so ago. Someone had him in the lineup. He has been ruled out as well. Monday Night Football. Kyle Murray has been working on a limited basis. It sounds like Jacoby Brissett's been working with the first team, so we'll have to watch for that. And again, the Browns, Jets, Eagles, and Buccaneers are all on the bye week, so don't get them out of your lineups. And let's start thinking about some questions. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Oh yes, Stanford's breaking news. Yeah, Steelers it's been a mess, and it keeps getting worse. Terrell Austin has the loyalty of the boss. And will he have Darisaw this week? I don't know. We'll see. I don't, I don't disagree. Here's the thing. Let's discuss this a little bit. I think J.J. McCarthy's a great example between him and Bryce Young of your healing time is directly proportional to what you've been doing on the field, right? If and what your backup demands. I mean, like if Carson Wentz isn't inflicting pain on the Vikings, they need this time. I've talked to Matthew Collar a couple times from the Purple Insider. And he says we're stripping it down to the bones and rebuilding the game. And that's got to be a concern. We'll see what JJ McCarthy is over time. I have a lot of faith in Kevin O'Connell and this coaching staff, but it hasn't looked good. So would like them to get on. And I appreciate that. And I'll get to you momentarily. I do appreciate everyone taking to heart my rant last week about not asking questions in advance. There were some, but not too many. And it's fun being in part of the conversation as it starts. I like that part because I enjoy sharing this time with you. Imagine that. I'm Bob Harris. And this is a great opportunity for me to find out what people are interested in, what they're looking for, what kind of decisions they're making. It helps me refine my rankings. I can't tell you when I'm on the radio how many times during the course of a show I'll adjust my rankings while I'm talking because you were posed with decisions that maybe I haven't thought through. And again, here, let's start with this. Rankings are a linear exercise, right? We don't need to play linearly. We need to think in tiers. So we have groups of players. I'll be answering that way. If I have players that are, all running back 2s or wide receiver 2s or 3s or flexes or whatever, and they all kind of fit, I'll kind of run you through what the pros and cons of each one are, because I think these should be your decisions. If you have hunches, play your hunches. Don't play my hunches unless you really like my hunches or they agree with your hunches. But they're my hunches. On Monday, I'm not going to be there. You can't say, damn it, Bob. Sorry, Joe. Why did you tell me to do that? Well, because I always have reasons for it, and I'll explain my reasoning and my logic. But we're playing, when you play a player, you're playing a range of possible outcomes, right? You're not playing like I sit here and when I'm making my lineup or I'm making my decisions or I'm writing my analysis, I'm writing in absolutes. Well, there are no absolutes. I don't know what's going to happen on Sunday. Crazy things happen. It's football. It's designed that way. They want it to be weird. So you're playing a range of possible outcomes. You're hoping you get the high end of the range of possible outcomes. You know that there's a lower end of that range, and you can get that too with each and every player. So we'll work through it, everything like that. I'm getting notifications here. Let's see if something's happened. Brissett is starting Monday against the Cowboys. So there we have that. Give me a brief moment here. I bet Scampers already broke that down at the bottom of the chat. Was I first? Oh, there's not really rules, Mark. You're good. Let me just get this taken care of here. Kind of knew this was coming. Oh, okay. Someone already got that on the site. I was 2 minutes behind there. Yeah, no rules, Mark. I mean, you're fine. I mean, there's rules, but like no rules. It's like everything else. So let's go to the questions. So that's interesting. Kyler Murray out. Not surprised, but very interesting. Let me just get something done here. On the website. Seems like there's been a lot of news breaking during these shows, right? I like that. Keeps us happy. Keeps us snapping. Keeps us hopping. All right, let's get to some of the questions real quick before other things change. We can't get this. Buy low candidates at wide receiver that could really spike and make an impact in the second half. Also, if the Bills don't make a major wide receiver trade, where would you rank Shakir the rest of the season? I wanted to look this up because Kluge, if you don't go to the website, you should go to the website. Dave Kluge has his rest of season rankings, and they're a pretty good guideline. He has him as a wide receiver 40. I think of him a little more highly than that. I mean, he's a solid floor play any week. And just whenever you think he's going to be horrible, you can disrespect him. He will slap you in the face with a touchdown. But I do think, he's a floor play. He's a flex, wide receiver 3 level flex play with a little higher upside. I don't know if anyone's going to make a huge impact. You're going to hear me talk about Kayshon Boutte a lot because he's been fantastic. He's been fantastic more than not. And I think he's been overlooked and probably underrated. Wide receiver 7 over the last 3 games. If you can find someone who hasn't been playing him and hasn't been paying attention, I try to get that. He's the one that looks like he could make an impact, right? Any given week. Eyeball test wise too. I'm sure Royal Slade will, a huge Patriots fan, will test this as well. Watch him play. He looks like the alpha there. I mean, he just does. Big, physical. Does all the stuff. So love that. Quentin Johnston. If someone wants to sell Quentin Johnston right now, I don't know that he's going to be a 0 target guy every week. I don't know that he's going to trend back up either. Maybe that first 4-week peak, that first 4 weeks of the season was peak Quentin Johnston's career. But I'd be willing to try and buy him cheap to find out. T. Higgins not getting a lot of targets. I think he's another one. I don't know. Emeka Buka's had some down weeks. If someone was maybe looking to, get stronger at another position, you could maybe get a little discount on him. Juwan Jennings is one that's been playing poorly the last 2 games. Brock Purdy will be back soon. The history of Juwan Jennings is much better than his play the last 2 weeks. I know he's not a sexy name, but he can have an impact. I think in the games last year when he played at least 80% of the snaps, he had like 17 fantasy points per game. So that's pretty good. So there's a few. We'll see whatever. Jalen Knowles, a guy that really flashed to me. The production was pretty even last week. I remember this time last Saturday, which Texans wide receiver, all of them was the answer. Imagine that. So a lot of good. So a lot, and there'll be some things open up as trade. Maybe you look at the Saints where it seems like someone's going to be going. Seems like Rashid Shaheed's more likely than Chris Olave, but that'll open up some things in New Orleans. I'm not a great believer in Tyler Shuck, but we'll be looking for that. And there'll be some other teams making some trades as well. We'll see if Jacoby Myers goes somewhere. He might be a guy to target now before he goes somewhere else and maybe gets a chance to rise. Booty target share, not ideal. Right. But the target shares haven't been horrible all the time. But even when they're not, what was that one game a few weeks ago where he had one target, 1 TD? I mean, yeah. And I agree with that on Drake. I want a piece of that action as well. But it's interesting. Over the last 3 games, Booty's averaged 18 points per game, getting the lower target shares. The higher target shares going to Stephon Diggs. He's scoring 14 points a game. I could play either of them. That's not a rule. That's not true. I'm at a 12-point thing, and each player they have the opponent's rankings against that position. How much influence should that have on my lineup? It should have some, right? You want to field your best lineup, Mark. But it's good to know if you need to swing for the fence, maybe on some decisions at flex, or maybe you have some close calls. You're thinking, wow, I just need a guy who's not going to get me a 0 this week, and I could probably win this game. Or, man, if I just play my floor players, I'm going to get my tail whipped. I need some home run swings here. I think that's what it's good for. Probably would with, they both have great matchups, right? So I don't overstate the case, but I want to start every quarterback I can against the Dallas Cowboys. So now that we have a little clarity and certainty, I wouldn't be opposed to that at all, for sure. And especially in a super flex, this is my quarterback too. All right, back up to the top so I can get some of the questions that were posed earlier. Top of the morning, says Coastal Elite. Jaylen Warren, who's in a bit of a timeshare with Kenneth Gainwell versus Indy or DJ Moore with no Swift and Burton at the bad Cincy D. I see the way you framed that question that you would like to play Moore. I would probably still play Warren. I know the projections right now, I think it's about 12 points for Moore. And this is from the Football Guys projection teams. When I cite the projections, it's Jason Wood, Sigmund Bloom, Moriel Tremblay. They do a great job of this. I put a lot of effort into beating their projections or gaining their projections. That's what the in and out column is about all week. I struggle to hit 500. They hit things really close. So Warren's projected for 16, Swift for 12. But it's a fair point. It's a horrible defense, one of the most generous defense in the league. And there is a missing piece. I don't know if Burton or Swift cut into the potential for more that much, but yeah, it's not. I'm still playing Warren if that's, just to give my answer. But yes, I see what the question is all about. Hello, S-Bot Check or Spot Check or however I say that. Pick two, one to play this week and one, if any, who has potential upside moving forward. Tyjae Spears, Rashard Smith, Darius Slayton, or Alec Pierce. I hate to say this. I'm into Darius Slayton a little bit. I think this is a great matchup for the Giants. I know Rashard Smith. The idea of Rashard Smith is very appealing to me, right? I get it. He's faster. He's kind of the receiving asset in here. I just don't know if there's enough, work in that backfield to go around. I think it'll be Kareem Hunt. Like maybe we see Rashard Smith pop, but you talk to the local people, why aren't we seeing more of him? It's mostly because he's not ready for it. Like, so, number one, you're not putting somebody back there to pass block for Patrick Mahomes, your $500 million investment in him that can't pass protect. And maybe that's an area he needs some work in. Doesn't seem to have the power as a runner, but I like the idea of it. I just don't know. Tyjae Spears would be the potential moving forward. If I had to pick somebody up today, it would be him, just on the off chance that we see Tony Pollard traded. Trade deadline's next Tuesday. There'll be a lot of things decided at that point, and there'll be some new opportunities open up, and some situations will improve or diminish for various players because of that. Hola, Brad Stewart. 70-19. Need 3 of these. 5 and a half-point PPR. Drake London, Kenneth Walker, Deebo Samuel, Marvin Harrison, or Kyle Monangai. Kyle Monangai has moved up into, I think, in both the projections and my rankings, like running back 14-ish. Might be higher in the projections. I know Jason Wood has him a little higher, like 13. I think Dave Kluge and I both have him right about the same spot. And then it would be Drake London, Marvin Harrison. Like, are we going to make the argument that the Arizona deep pass offense is better without Kyler Murray? I mean, it's not an unfair argument. It's been pretty good the last 2 weeks. I've played that. I'm not against Deebo. I am kind of against Kenneth Walker, which is an odd thing for me to say, right? It's just been too much of a split for me. I'd rather avoid the headache. I still think Kenneth Walker is the better runner of the two. In the 2.8 yards per carry average, we see Zach Charbonnet running with right now kind of adds to that, but we are where we are in terms of that timeshare. Question here: Knight or Jennings PPR? I'm guessing this is Juwan Jennings. So I'm still in on Knight. I think just the Dallas defense in general is very generous. They're very generous to running backs too. I think he's in a good spot. There was some reporting that Michael Carter's been getting some snaps with the first team. That's not scaring me off. He was released earlier this week. He's back on the practice squad. He'll probably be elevated for the game. I don't know if you have more elevations for him. I guess they do. Or if they have to sign him. So I don't know. But I don't know that I think it just, as long as the offense is on schedule, I'm fine with playing Bam Knight. I think he's in a good spot. I think he's projected to finish. He's my in on my in and out this week. So that tells you something. Not that I think he's like a running back one or anything, just I think he'll outperform expectations. Carter may have been elevated today. It's possible. I haven't seen him elevated yet. That usually happens later in the day. Well, actually, it could happen Monday since they're a Monday night team, but I haven't seen it yet. I'll look for it. And I'm the expectation is he'll be available. I just don't know that I would let him keep me from starting Bam Knight given the last 2 weeks of work. And yes, I'm interested in this too. Be a big battle. I'm interested in seeing if the Atlanta offense in general can get back on track. It was a horrible game last week. Okay, let's see. Back to the top. Algier got dropped. Pick him up and drop Chimray, the great Chimray DK. For him, running backs are Taylor, Jacobs, Warren, and Marks. I don't know that you're ever going to play. I mean, are you ever going to play Algier? It would take a lot of circumstances. Tenro, Addison, Keenan. I mean, you need more help at wide receiver. You need more help at wide receiver to me. I don't know that Chimray DK, it's a horrible offense. He looks to me like the best piece in that offense right now. And I know the buzz was for Alec Ayamanor, throughout the summer, but it's easy to forget the DK was drafted ahead of him. Also, man, if you're in a kick return league, return yardage league, DK is probably your top dog there, right? So I don't know that I do this. I think you've got the depth that you need to have. I mean, those are all playable guys. Those are all guys I would probably play ahead of Algier any week. So I'll leave it at that. Needs a flex. Robert G -729. Dobbins, Marks, Parker Washington, Cortland Sutton, or Booty Lie. I think you love the show. You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate you coming. Appreciate all you coming. You're all great people. Everyone out there, even the ones who aren't asking questions, but especially the ones who are. Dobbins, Sutton. I mean, I'm tempted to put Booty ahead of Sutton, but the target is there. Share still says that, and honestly, the Parker share says probably Parker Washington is right up there with him as well. I don't want to overstate that case, as I said earlier. I think the targets have been there, and I think the role will be pretty solid for Parker Washington, maybe surprisingly so. But it would be Dobbins would be my pick here, and I'd probably, if it was my own personal decision, I'd probably play Booty over Sutton. I don't know if the Derek Stingley Jr. He's not been as good this year as he has as we've seen in the past, it seems, but I don't know if I want to. Cortland Sutton's target share hasn't been as good as we've seen in the recent years. That's part of the problem. And I don't know if I love Bo Nix in the Denver offense passing game anyway. Passing portion of this going up against that pass rush. All right, Mark Strong, 3084. I've been trying to talk myself into Colston Loveland. I'd probably go Ertz with Jaden Daniels back. This would have been more of a conversation if there was no Cole Kmet. Like I'm starting to feel Loveland a little bit, but the numbers don't bear it out yet, right? It's more of a gut feeling. That said, it's a similar feel to what I had for Oronde Gadsden when he first started playing. I said, man, this guy's going to get more playing time. This guy needs to see more action, right? Sometimes the eyeball test, just like you're just going, man, that guy stands out. Some of the moves, just a few moments he flashed, not really making plays or anything, but just the athleticism flash. So, but right now, Ertz is the answer to that because Jaden Daniels is back. The numbers from Ertz's splits between Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota are stark. Like it's about a 3 target difference per game. The production is wildly different. The fantasy totals are wildly different as well. What is this baseball you talk of? I could tell you about Shohei Ohtani. I'm quite knowledgeable on that subject. I bet you didn't know that. See what I did there? Oh, no. We got the Northern contingent chiming in. I would probably play Gadsden this week. Like, I don't think this is a mirage, right? Like, could he have a bad game? Sure. Is it likely to come against the Titans? Probably not. Right? The thing the Titans are horrible at is run after the catch, and the thing that Gadsden's great at is that run after the catch. Oronde Gadsden over the last 2 games, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, the most of any rookie tight end since Mike Ditka, the year I was born, 1961. So there's that. Laporte is a great play. I like Jared Goff this week. I think Minnesota's defense has struggled a little bit the last couple games. It's at home for Detroit, so I like all that. There's a lot of playmakers there. A lot of playmakers in Los Angeles too, but Gadsden seems to be front and center on the mind of one Justin Herbert. I'd play that while the run is hot. I don't know if it's going to cool off. I mean, it will. It will because it's been he's scoring at a historic pace, like 60 points over the last 3 games, fantasy points. Time to get wacko for Flacco. I still think it's maybe a little bit of a risky play. I'd be a little so here's just general fantasy football 101, which most of you don't need. You're like at elevated levels, but like it's for me, if I'm sitting there deciding between 2 players that are relatively close and one of them is going into the game hurt, I'm probably going to avoid him if I can, right? But I do love Flacco's upside. I love that he's playing for the players involved. I think it's great news. It's a phenomenal matchup. So yeah, I'm ready to go wacko for Flacco and probably playing him over a lot of guys that might seem like safer plays for the upside. But if I just needed the lineup, I was talking about earlier, like, man, I'm looking at this other team's lineup. I just need to not get a 0. Well, it's possible any player gets you a 0. I realize this, right? And I am injury agnostic. Like someone's been injured in the past, but there's a difference between history of injuries and being injured. Right now, he has a sprained AC in his throwing shoulder. Like I'm playing him. I still rank him inside the top 10. I think I have him 8 or 9. Let me double check so I don't speak out of line. Because I like to be a truth teller here, mostly. I have him 11. So I have him inside the top 12. I have Daniels ahead of him, Prescott, Jackson Dart, Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert. Who's after him? I play him over Jordan Love, Caleb Williams in a great matchup, right? So they're very close, though, right in the same range. By the way, my rankings available at Football Guys. If the YouTube would let me, I would post my rankings. I could post a link to them. Maybe I'll get one of the people behind the scenes to start doing that every week. I think it'd be a good idea. Be very helpful. Yes, you did. Did I already answer this one? No, I didn't. So I will please excuse the two-part question. I believe you meant, Jeff Bolt. First running back slot, Hunt, Rico, or Henderson versus Atlanta. I'm playing Rico. The talk this week is that Dave Canales has come to a census. I wrote about it. You might have seen it in the daily update email or in my fantasy notebook. It seemed like a good idea to give some deference to Chuba Hubbard. Probably a good move in the locker room. Better move in the locker room is winning. Right. So, everyone eyeball that. Dave Canales acknowledged what we've all seen is Rico Dowdle's been more effective runner. I think they'll lean into him more heavily. It's a tough matchup. I'm still going with that. It'd be Henderson and then Hunt for me. Just because of the Chiefs offense. I mean, Hunt could score 3 touchdowns if they did get it down by the goal line, right? That's the range of possible outcomes, and I wouldn't be averse to playing that if I needed to. Also, by design, that offense is going to run through Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes and the other receivers. So, part 2, running back spot. Who was not selected for my running back plus Bowers versus Jacksonville, BTJ, Las Vegas, or McMillan at Green Bay? Whoever was not selected for my running back. So, if I'm getting that right, I mean, my ranking was Rico, Henderson, and Hunt. My next ranking is it's probably Bowers, BTJ, and McMillan. Or I probably have McMillan ahead of BTJ, but it's a great matchup. But yeah, that would be my order. Almost how you have it written, except McMillan over BTJ. Like or Pierce. Is that DK or Pierce? Marcus Yashinsky, 4763. Like or Pierce. If it's DK, I like DK better right now. Anyone else pick up and start Darnell Mooney to sink their week 8 team? Like these, this is who I know we like to beat ourselves up after losses, right? By the way, if you're just tuning in, hi, I'm Bob Harris. Darn glad you're here. You'll find me at Football Guys and on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. You'll find me here every week at noon Eastern time. Ask me anything. We'll roll through your questions. We'll discuss injury issues. We'll talk about topics of the day. Have a great time. Then go get ready for the Sunday games. And again, if you want to hear me also more, if you want to get calls in, we do take calls on our Sirius show. We'll do that tonight. 3 hours of broadcast. Guest tonight, Michael F. Florio from NFL.com, NFL Network, Rotoballer. Jamie Calandra will come on to do DFS talk with us. I want to say the Cardinals and Cowboys are our game of the week, but I'm not sure. And I don't know who the beat writers are yet. So we'll have a couple of beat writers on to cover those teams and sort out what's going on there. Then tomorrow, pregame show with Jeff Mans. Also, same time, if you like to watch your pregame shows on YouTube, this very channel, subscribe, hit the notification on this channel. Joey Wright leads the team through the pregame show here. I'll just quick secret. I'm not like I'm an adherent of the great JJ Zachariason, who knows that it's at the high end. The half point versus point PPR, it remains pretty relative. It's when you get to some of the outliers. So I generally consider everything PPR and assume it's relative. But back to the Falcons. I mean, no one saw that coming. The Dolphins have been horrible. The Dolphins offense have been horrible. Atlanta's defense have been great. I mean, this is what the NFL wants, right? They want anything weak for nobody know what the heck's going to happen. And it was a weird week. I wrote about it in this week's fantasy notebook. Only one game was decided by 10 or fewer points. That was the Jets and the Bengals, where we saw the great Justin Fields redemption tour begin, or not. Crazy. Football's crazy, people. Trade away Garrett Wilson for Bucky McLaurin, Taylor, and Rico. I think Bucky's coming back week 10. They're telling us Bucky's going to come back week 10. I don't know that Bucky's coming back week 10. I don't know that Garrett Wilson's coming back week 10, right? I mean, you have Taylor and Rico. I mean, if that's all you have, then maybe. I'd probably stand pat, though. An opponent has 2 wins in Puka. Very short on running backs. I have CBC, Bucky, CBC. That should come right to mind, right? It doesn't. Is it CMC? How close is B&M? I don't know. Bucky, Javonte. Am I not thinking of somebody, or is it just CMC? I'll assume it's CMC, and you can correct me down at the bottom if it's not. Javonte and Aaron Jones, would you try and trade one of these RBs for Puka? Yes. But it would take one of the high-end guys. Maybe I'd start with Javonte as a starting point. If that's CMC. Okay, there it is, James. Yeah. Like, there's some kinds of initials that just don't register right away. CMC does register right away, so that's why I made the assumption. Yeah, I would probably start with Javonte Williams, see if that'd do it. I don't know that it would, but if he's weak at running back, it might. Man, you'd have a hard time getting Puka Nacua away from me no matter what. Let's see. Where was I? Here we go. I don't know. I think he's probably done Will Thompson 99.03. That's my guess. It's just a guess. It sounded like they were talking about 8 weeks and maybe hoping to have him if they make the playoffs. I feel the same about Mike Evans too. Like if you have an IR spot and it's not filled with anyone else, why not? Also that, right? That seems reasonable. So sure. Best speculative running back to pick up a trade deadline. It's probably at the moment Tyjae Spears. But there's probably someone we're not thinking of. I mean, I don't think Alvin Kamara is getting traded, but Devin Neal would be worth a speculative play if you have room on your roster and he's free to pick up for sure. He would stand to gain exponentially. Man, love to see the Eagles trade Tanks Bigsby to, I don't know, somewhere where they have a need. Turns out he's pretty good. Last week has suggested as much. It's those Spears is the primary one for me. If I'm not thinking of somebody, throw it in the chat, people. PPR, start 2, Diggs, Tetairoa McMillan, Marks, Henderson. Henderson and Tetairoa McMillan. They did make some trades. They did make those trades. DK or Parker Washington. Tony, that's a tough one, right? That's super tough. Like Washington has the better matchup. He's gotten like double-digit targets. We've seen him taste the high side. I'd probably play him if I just needed to play it really safe. If I thought I needed like a home run swing. I mean, Parker might be that too. He will score the occasional touchdown. Let me see what the projection team thinks on this. Honestly, that's that's a little bit of a conundrum. I think Washington is being widely underestimated. We have them at 45. We have DK probably what 40. I mean, they're right in the same range. The projection teams likes DK better. I'll go with that, but I think and I do like DK. Don't get me wrong. I don't love the offense. I don't know that I love the Jaguars offense either. Better matchup for the Jaguars, but DK makes more sense. He's the bigger piece. We're assuming that, I guess we're assuming that now that Travis Hunter's gone, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be great again. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if Brian Thomas Jr. is going to suddenly pick it up just because the bye week's over. He's a little beat up too, but he's off the injury report. Brian Thomas Jr., that is. Superflex pick 2, Goff, Rodgers, Mac Jones. It would probably be Goff and Mac Jones. It's Goff for sure. I don't know what the projectors think, if they agree with me. Sometimes on some of these, I get lost in my own sauce and I talk myself into positions. I want to see how crazy they are. Yeah, the projectors like Mac Jones better. I think it's a great matchup for Robert Rogers downfield plays. I love DK Metcalf this week. I'll say that. But yes, I'm big on Goff, and the projections are big on Mac Jones. Full point PPR, my flex, J.K. Dobbins for me. 80s Kiss. So I was more 70s Kiss. Saw them like 5 times, and probably all before 83, I want to say. I got no problem. I've been revisiting some old stuff, some of the older live performances that are so fantastic. Man, what a show back in the day. I mean, it was just like nothing else, nothing even remotely close. Just amazing shows back in the day. 80s Kiss. I guess I kind of my taste shifted a little bit to more thrashier, heavier things throughout the 80s. So that's probably when I was leaving. But I mean, I love everything through Love Gun. Great stuff. Detroit Rock City. Love that. That's 80s. All right. Enough Kiss talk, but rest in peace, Ace. I think every time I saw them was with Ace. Let's say that. That's true. This is truth. Truths are being told here. Rock on, Bob. In a non-PPR, which 2 did you think have safer floors? Debo, Chimray, DK, Ken Walker, Troy Franklin. Not sure I can handle a third consecutive under 2-point loss. Probably Debo with no Terry McLaurin playing with Jaden Daniels. I probably feel the most comfortable with. I mean, Kenneth Walker has a floor too. I mean, he's a flex level play, but rarely do you get a 0. He's just not getting the touchdown luck. I mean, Chimray, DK at some point, and Troy Franklin. I don't think this is a bad week for Troy Franklin. I think it's probably a good week for Troy Franklin with no Marvin Mims. Let's see what's going on here. Nothing newsy, just discussions about the things that have already happened. First, I'd be last. Thank you. Thank you. No rules. That is like, if you do, like, I guess there is a rule. Like, if you give me the whole name and who they're playing, it's very helpful. I process faster. Like here, I mean, I know that's Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, but there's some guys that just doesn't click right away, like if they're not been around that long. So Aaron Jones, JC Hammer Slayton, it'd be Krosky Merritt in this case. I like Slayton. I just haven't seen it yet. Very, very close to a touchdown last week, though. We'll be having a different conversation about him. Purdy and Kyler will not be marked out. Most likely per my roster. My frustrations. Yeah, they are marked out. Well, Purdy will not be. Let's see. Good questions today. Good crowd. Good crew. Like everybody. This is fantastic. This is my favorite hour of the week. I'm not going to lie. I love this. A little interaction, finding out what people need to know. Oh, look at Lester made it. Good to see you, Lester. Thanks for coming. I knew you would find your way here eventually. Click the notification button, man. Julia Papworth, Beat the Waiver Wire column is great every week. Comes out on Friday night, gets in your email box early Saturday morning. It's fantastic. Hi, Bob. Which 2 running backs would you start in the half-point PPR? Common guy, Matt. I would start. I would probably start Chase Brown either way, but happier that Flacco starts. It would be Monangai and Brown. And I'm in on Knight, just not that in. In on the others more. Knight or Jennings? It's Knight. Dynasty 8-man league. Start 2 quarterbacks. I already have Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, and Stroud. Should I drop Penix for Brissett? Yes. I would do that. Because you got Hurts out. Stroud's got a tough matchup, tough pass rush. I know he was great last week, but they didn't get any pressure on him. I'm guessing the Broncos will do better this week. Hello, Shum 66. Hey, my friend, thanks for your answer. Hey, half point PPR need a flex. Jake Ferguson or Chase Brown. Chase Brown for me. Chase Brown, Monangai, or Tracy. It would be Monangai. Tracy and Brown are closer conversation, but it'd be Monangai this week. It's going against the Bengals. I don't know. Do we think Travis Homer is going to cut into the workload? I suppose he could. Could be someone I don't know. Possible. I mean, they're down 2 running backs. Monangai seems like it, and everyone gets something done against the Bengals defense this year. If he doesn't, he will be the first. Also got to pick 2, said Pouring Henry. Kyle Monangai, DJ Moore, J.K. Dobbins. I would take the running backs here. Spears or Mason? I'm probably playing Mason here, but I get the question. Like, if you were really thinking, like, if they're going to trade Pollard, it's possible they would try to protect him, right? And you'd see more Spears. I don't know that they're going to. I just know it's been talked about. Who's winning the baseball game tonight? Did we decide that, Scampers? Slade? Did we decide that? Yep. Not over Pickens, probably not over BTJ. Probably not. I mean, like, we know what Franklin is capable of. We saw, that wide receiver 1 overall is not my expectation on a weekly basis. But there's going to be weeks where he's going to be very good. This could be a week where he's better than his floor. Let's see what the projectors think on him. It's because I don't want to have a blind spot to him, but I've kind of been more Mimsy, but it's been, I mean, obviously no Mims this week. So let me recalibrate. The projection team has him at wide receiver 41. They have guys like Tim Ray DK, Kayshon Boutte ahead of him, Trey Tucker ahead of him. The guys they have after him, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, Josh Downs, Parker Washington, Jameson Williams, how that mighty man has fallen. So that kind of gives you a feel for where the projection team, what the projection team thinks of him. And they would definitely go Pickens and BTJ in that order. That's what we're saying. It's interesting. I'm kind of torn a little bit, and Matt Waldman would not be torn if you listen to our Monday podcast. It's too profane to name here. Matt Waldman has not been in on Kyler Murray. Doesn't think he's a good fit for the offense. Brissett might be a better fit. It's true. Yep. This is the thing people are overlooking. My answer to J.K. Dobbins questions are often J.K. Dobbins for this reason, man. He's been rocking it. It's a timeshare. You see a big spike performance from RJ Harvey, and I get why you'd be concerned, but so far the workload concerns have not been there. It's Harvey outperforming his workload when he has a big game, and it's Dobbins just doing the yeoman's work there. Jacoby Myers, Keenan Allen, or Jennings. Pick 1 PPR. I'm probably going Keenan Allen here given the matchup. I would like to tell myself the happy story that Brock Bowers coming back opens up this passing offense for all the pieces I love. And all the pieces I love are Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. I don't know. I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. I get that the targets have been distributed differently, that McConkey's been coming on a little bit, but I'd probably still go there. I do like Jennings. I might like him more when he gets another week of health. It's a good matchup, okay? So I'm not against it, but Keenan's probably the easy call for me right here. Weekly Montgomery versus Minnesota check. Where is he sliding in? He's behind Monangai for sure. He's behind Travion for sure. Probably behind Bam Knight. Let's see what the projectors think so my own personal biases don't come into play, or at least we have something to balance them off, because probably you're here for my own personal biases. Or at least to see how they align with yours. So, yeah, so the projectors like him better than Henderson and Knight. They like Monangai better than all 3 of them. That's interesting. Maybe, to me, Montgomery's become a little more hit or miss than I like. And I've been a big Montgomery player, enthusiast, backer. I have many shares of David Montgomery. And there's big games, and then there's the disappearing acts. And so I don't know which to expect here. I think the passing games have been working against the Vikings last couple of weeks. Opposing quarterbacks have scored like 25 fantasy points against them, something ridiculous like that. And Goff fared well against them last time. So I probably like all of them slightly better, but it's pretty close. I definitely like Monangai. I'm with the projectors on Monangai. PPR, need to start 3 of these 4. We get 5 bonus points for 40-plus yards. Okay, Jeffrey Cooperman, 32-28. So it kind of favors wide receivers. Sit 1, Henderson, Monangai, Bam White, and Romeo Doubs. I'm probably playing Monangai here. That's probably what I'm doing. It's probably what I'm doing. It's definitely what I'm doing. I had to think about it. Yes, you can. All right, where were you? Okay, PPR. Oh, I did that. That's one I just did. I scrolled down at the bottom because I like to see what y'all talk about. I have not talked about ETN at BWS MPP. I have not, because I'm not enthusiastic. It's a pretty good matchup this week, or I mean, just like Raiders in general have not been a daunting matchup. I'm sure the projectors think of him. I've developed a blind spot just because he hasn't been doing a lot with his opportunities, and he gets a ton of opportunities. Let's see. I think the projectors probably like him way more than I do. No, he's running back 18 behind Dowdle, behind Chase Brown, behind Tyrone Tracy, behind Monangai, behind Kamani Vidal, ahead of who they like more. Ahead of David Montgomery, Kareem Hunt, Ken Walker, Travion Henderson, Bam Knight. They have at 23, Alvin Kamara at 24, Woody Marks at 25. They're down on J.K. Dobbins. I am not. So yeah, ETA, it's been interesting. Get a great workload, not doing as much with it as I wanted, or as I would have thought. I guess we'll put it that way. Are Tillman, Pearsall, and Krosky Merritt worth keeping on my roster? Yes. Well, no, yes, and yes. I mean, I like the idea of Tillman. I don't like that offense, but Pearsall and Krosky Merritt for sure. You're going to have attrition. Things are going to change at the end of the season. None of us are excited about what we've seen of, like, we're still wondering what all the hullabaloo was about Krosky Merritt back in July, because we haven't seen it, right? It hasn't translated to the Sundays yet, but it may well. I mean, you see flashes of it, but not a consistent usage, not the kind of usage we wanted for, but there's been good games. I'm probably keeping that at running back, and I'd probably keep Pearsall if I at all could. I'm an or Parker Washington, tight end question, Loveland, AJ Barner, or Okonkwo. It'd be Okonkwo and Parker Washington. I'm getting close to the end, so I want to get through these. Would you play Rico over Gibbs? No. I would not. Josh Downs, Booty, Quentin Johnston. Booty for me, Quentin Johnston next, Downs next. Downs has a great matchup, so, I mean, they're all playable. And I'm playing Booty's hot hand, and Quentin Johnston's coming off a 0, as you well know. All right, Jeff Bolt, let me rephrase. Let me ask. Hunt at Buffalo, Henderson versus Atlanta, Bowers versus Jacksonville. Maybe my answer was confusing. Halfway PPR for the flex. It would be Henderson, followed by Bowers, followed by Hunt, followed by McMillan, followed by BTJ. Maybe that's not. Best third receiver, wide receiver, tight end to pair with Addison McBride this week. Woo. Jacoby Myers, Alec Pierce, Zach Ertz, Parker Washington in PPR league. Probably be Parker Washington or Zach Ertz in that order. I mean, Alec Pierce can make some big plays. I'd like to see Jacoby Myers before I believe in it. Got lost in the sauce. There was a baseball game. I lost Hunter McClure again, left with Nico, Olave, Devontae, Debo, and picked up Parker Washington. Should I trade for another wide receiver? These are hard questions because you need to go out and check every other team's roster, see who has weaknesses or strengths at the positions you're interested in. If you're looking for wide receivers, see who has a surplus, see if their surplus you can match or dovetails with a strength on your roster. This is the process, so you go out and you go to your league site and you look at every other team. Seems like a lot of work, but it is. That's the whole idea. And you sort out, you find someone who you can target with a trade offer, or you can put someone on the block and see what happens. But I would prefer that. I don't think you need to. I mean, this week you got no Devonta, but I mean, I could start those guys every week. Nico, Olave, Devonta, Deebo. If I had to start any of them, it'd be fine. And picking up Parker Washington would give me depth. Worried about Trevor Lawrence with Hunter out, gamble on Flacco's health, stick with Lawrence coming out of the bye. And yes, great call and 70s kiss. Yes. I mean, I would play Flacco over him, but it is, you understand the risk. Like, I think there's more upside to Flacco than there is to Trevor Lawrence, with or without Travis Hunter. PPR sit 1, Vidal, Warren, Monangai, thanks. It would be Warren for me if I had to sit 1. Jalen Warren or Nico Collins in the flex. Let me see what our call projection is for Collins. It would be Warren over Collins. That's going with the projection team more than me. Charbonnet or Walker. I pick the lane. I'm playing Walker every week. He's running back 31 compared to Charbonnet's running back 37. Charbonnet seems to get the touchdown luck, but touchdowns are a weird stat. It happens and it doesn't happen. He's averaging 2.8 yards a carry. I'm not a big Charbonnet enthusiast. I wish they'd use Walker more. Yes, he does. No thoughts on carry split. I've been thinking about it. I mean, could Giordis Johnson be a factor in there? We'll see what Royal Slade thinks. Oh, he's got the numbers here. I think this sounds about 60. What is it? 60. Yeah, 60 for Henderson and 40 split between the rest sounds probably like a reasonable expectation. No, Henry, you're pouring. Awesome. Pouring Henry. I said that right. All right, I got a few more minutes here. Let me see if I can get through a bunch of questions. Have got it on by full point PPR. Johnson, which Johnson, Theo or Juwan? Juwan. Well, Juwan has a new quarterback, so I don't know if it's a smarter play. I like Theo this week. I probably don't like him more than Juwan. Juwan's had a role, and tight ends are generally the best friend of. They're 12 and 13 on the site. This is a pick 'em. They're projected within a half point of each other. My hunch is Theo, but it's just a hunch. Players, if you have one. There, you got me to go out on a limb. Nico Collins or Drake London. I like London, but it's a pretty good point. And look, I mean, it's not going to be the coverage. The Pat Surtain 2 coverage is out for Collins, so I like that portion. I just don't know if this passing attack's one I want to dip into really hard this week. They're 15 and 16 on the projection team. A tenth of a point separates them. I like London better, but he's a tough matchup too this week. And it's not so much the matchup for Collins individually as it is the pass rush. The Broncos lead the league with 34 sacks. I don't know if that offensive line's ready for that. And that was the key to their success last week, was they avoided the pressure. The 49ers couldn't trouble them. What kind of team has to decide on playing Nico and London's? A very good team. Correct answer. If you can roster 2 defenses and they're available, Tampa has a sweet schedule at the end of the season. I'm all for that, Coastal. I should put I'm clicking on them and they're not coming up. I'm really very slow on that. There's the prediction I knew was coming. I misread something earlier. No, I mean both Purdy and Kyler have been declared not to start, but the questionable could be available play. Just declare them out. Oh yeah, I don't know. They might. It sounded like they might be heading that way with Murray, but maybe not. But yes, I agree. At least they didn't list them as full participants in practice. Need 2 running backs and 1 flex. Kenneth Walker III, ETN Chase Brown, Stephon Diggs Downs. Also drop Judy or Mason for Spears. Judy for sure. Yeah. I mean, even if you have Pollard, I mean, the expectation is Pollard's going to move. If he doesn't, You could drop Spears and go back to, I'm not sure anyone would be out there pursuing Judy with great lust. And 2 running backs in a flex, ETN to Chase Brown would be my flexes. Stephon Diggs would be close to that conversation. Hunter Henry or Varner. I think you mean Varner, and it would be Hunter Henry. Yes. I was able to mind read that one. Thank you, Jay Draker. Guys, if Cleveland D was dropped this week, consider picking them up. Jeff would like us to know. Can I ask you a question for next week with me having Dak on a bye and need a 1-week rental? You can ask that question. I might not have a great answer because I'm not looking at the schedules, but I could tell if you tell me who's available, I can tell you who I like. Full point PPR, I'd probably play Franklin over Downs. Bob biases are available. Here's the list. Tua, Penix, Mac Jones. I did not. I haven't been to YouTube yet. I'm in the StreamYard. Wow. Yeah, I'd go Purdy thinking he's gonna come back. That'd probably be my play. And the chat concurs. Yeah, it would be Purdy's first week back, and it's not 100% sure. I think it probably is sure, but if you want to play it safe, it would be Young. Drop Bill from an on guy. I would have done that for this week. This is true. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, the more we're all thinking about it, we're thinking the same. Non-PPR, are you Ted Rowe or Brian Thomas Jr.? Yes. All right, I'm going to have to get out of here, but I'm almost caught up. Good afternoon, said the Stephen Grease or Grise. Need help picking my second running back spot, my second flex spot in a full PPR matchup this week, deciding between Bam Knight, Rico Dowdle, Jordan Addison, Kenneth Walker, DJ Moore. Second running back in a flex spot, Rico Dowdle. I like Bam Knight over Kenneth Walker and probably over those wide receivers, not knowing the Jordan Addison, not knowing what JJ McCarthy's all about. There's a dissenting view from the great Scott Kobe. There you go. All right, everybody. I got to get out of here. Don't forget to turn your clocks back unless you have one of these, and then it'll turn back all by itself. That's fantastic. Oh, but here's one more. Yeah, slightly worried, but not going to overthink it. All right. Thank you, everybody. I don't know if I can get to all of these, so I don't want to get to 1 or 2 of them and leave someone else hanging. I'm sorry. Ran out of time. Call me on the radio show tonight, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio and the NFL Radio, 8 to 11. Me and Mike Dempsey, we usually take calls throughout the show. Also, I'll be on tomorrow with Jeff Mans. Also, they'll have the live stream on this channel tomorrow over the pregame hours. So check all that out. I'm on the radio from 11 to 1. Good luck, everybody, this week. Hope you have a great, fantastic, successful week. We'll be back here next Saturday, this very same time. Appreciate you.